get fluent in European Portuguese in 3 months. Do you think it is possible? If you have been searching on YouTube about how to learn a language, probably you already heard about this sentence, learn a foreign language in 3 months. Because some YouTubers talk about it, how you can learn a language in 3 months. What do you think about it? Do you think it is possible to learn a language fluently in 3 months? Do you think it's possible to learn European Portuguese in 3 months? Olá, I'm Sara. I'm a Portuguese teacher. I'm here to help you enter the Portuguese world. And today I'm going to talk about this topic. Welcome to my channel. If you like this kind of content, you can subscribe for more and tell me in the comments below what you would like to see more on this channel. And let's talk about this topic. Learn Portuguese, European Portuguese in 3 months. Well, I think that the issue with this statement is just like when it comes to lose weight or gain muscle. People also say, I lost 10 pounds, 10 kilos in X amount of time. I did this in this amount of time. Well, I'm not saying that it is not possible to do so, but you need to be aware there are different factors to it. A question that a lot of people ask me, new students or my foreigner friends who are starting learning Portuguese when they started, a lot of people ask me this question: how much time do I need to get fluency or basic fluency in Portuguese? And for example, I've been helping a couple of people learning Portuguese in order to pass the CIPO exam, the A2 exam. You know what that is? It's the exam that the Portuguese government requires for you to apply to the nationality. This is one of the things that you need to have, a certificate, the specific certificate that certifies you that you really know this basic, this A2 level European Portuguese. And my question also always depends, because it really depends. I know that you don't like that answer, but it depends. And it depends on what? It depends on you, basically. For example, do you have any background in language learning? Is this language the first foreign language that you learn? Because if you are a monolingual, you have no experience with learning a foreign language. It's very different if you had this experience, no matter the foreign language. Of course, if you know a foreign language that is similar to Portuguese, this also helps. For example, if you know Italian, French, Spanish, Romanian, these languages are Romance language. So they belong to the same family. Portuguese belongs to this family, Romance language. And even English, and English is not in this family, even English shares a lot of similar words with Portuguese. So, for example, let's say that you are Chinese and you don't know any other language rather than Chinese. It's going to be much more complicated. I'm not going to say difficult, but complicated to learn it fast compared to, it's always a comparison, for example, to someone that already knows Spanish and or French. So always depends. And I already taught Chinese people who barely knew English and they were learning Portuguese. And I also taught Chinese people who were learning Portuguese, of course, but they already knew English and they were very successful in learning Portuguese to a basic level. Other factor is how much time do you have to actually not only study, because most people think that it's just about studying, just about reading things, reading explanations, or being in a class and the teacher is explaining. So how much time do you have to not only study, the actual learn, acquire, and practice what you have been learning. This always takes time. And if you have class or and the moment that you have to either study or learn or practice Portuguese is, for example, just once a week, even if it's for example, 2 hours, 2, 3 hours, this won't be as effective as if you were studying 15, 30, 1 hour a day. Because you need to know, and probably you already know if you have been doing this for some time, that you feel overwhelmed. Because when you're learning a new language, basically you are learning everything, like a world, a universe. Imagine all your life in your native language, all those words, all those contexts, all those verbs, everything, but in another language. And you took some time to learn your own language and be proficient in it. So learning a new language can be very overwhelming, but it's especially overwhelming if you want to just, as we say in Portuguese, you want to put those things inside your head, dentro da tua cabeça. And those things that you want to put inside your head are a lot of things. A lot of things. And for example, if you take a 2-hour class or you spend 2 hours studying just new things, it's too much. You need to learn one thing and then practice. And you need to have time. Your brain needs time to absorb all of this. Not just learn, but you understand, you start using, you make mistakes, start using, and then you get in the flow and you start using it like just like a real Portuguese. All of this takes time. And if you don't have the time, the energy to invest, let's say 50 minutes, for example, my course, Understand the Portuguese, each class has 10, 15, 20 minutes, not 1 hour class. And let's say that you watch one of those classes a day, and you watch, if you need to watch twice, it's like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then you practice with those exercises. It will be much more effective than just trying to overwhelm yourself with a lot of content. And let's learn more verbs, because these verbs are very frequent and I really need it, so more and more. Quantity is not very smart in this situation. So quality over quantity. You need to learn a language with strategy. Basically, anything that you learn in life, when you study, for example, math, you need to do it in a certain way. For example, I'm not good at math, not at all, but I know if I want to learn math, I need to do a lot of exercises. It's more about practicing than memorization. But if I'm going to be very good in history, I need to use my memory much more than understanding the logic of the process, right? So you need to think about all these factors when you want to commit yourself to learn something. And you need to prepare yourself in a way that you get the less frustrated as possible. When you are learning something new, you just can't avoid making mistakes. That's just how life is. So you need to be aware and prepared for failing, for being confused, for feeling frustrated. And this needs a lot of emotional intelligence, right? So you need to know in advance that this will happen, and you need to have the tools to deal with all these emotions. Because if you don't know how to deal with this, probably you'll feel not motivated at all, and you may think, oh, this is too difficult, it's impossible, I just want to give up, okay? And besides this, it's very difficult, even more difficult to be consistent in something, in this case, in learning Portuguese. If you have tons of things to do, if you have to study 2 hours a day, if you are overwhelming yourself, instead of doing small things, but regularly in a consistent way. And so if you're not consistent, probably you not get your results. Because if you don't do it consistently, you start forgetting what you have learned before, right? So about how much time do we need to learn Portuguese? 3 months, 4 months, 6 months? I rather prefer asking this question. And you can ask this question to yourself too. How many things can I learn in 3 months? You need to look to yourself and think, how much time do I have? How many energy do I have? Do I have the right resources? Do I need to look for a teacher? Do I know someone that already learned European Portuguese? And so I can ask for some tips, some advice. All of this you need to take into consideration when you want to learn Portuguese. But there's also other perspective. 3 months to learn a language, to achieve fluency. Do you want Portuguese just for a trip? Do you want Portuguese because you have a crush on someone? You want to learn Portuguese because you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, you have relatives, and you want to talk with them in Portuguese? Knowing your goal is very important, because if you are on point A, you want to go to point B, you need to know what you want to get there, right? It doesn't matter if you have like a Ferrari, as we say in Portuguese, Ferrari, Lamborghini, all those very good cars. If you don't know your final destination, doesn't matter how fast your car is, you're not going to the place that you want to go, right? So really think about why you're learning Portuguese. What are your goals? And let's say that you achieve your goal in 3 months and you are fluent in Portuguese in 3 months. What are you going to do next? The reality is that you will always have new things to learn, right? And in life, this is always what happens. You learn something that will help you in a certain moment to deal with a certain situation. But Portuguese can be for life. Not even native speakers know every single word. We know the words that we need to have a life in a language, to live in Portuguese in Portugal. And that's also what you should aim. You should aim to learn what you need to learn. And something else that is very, very, very important, and few people really think about it, is the definition of fluency. What is fluency? Well, different people think different things, different definitions of fluency. A lot of people think that fluency means speaking the language like the natives, speaking the language perfectly. Well, let me tell you that no native speaker speaks their language perfectly. And Europeans in Portuguese are no exception. Portuguese people make mistakes when they write, when they speak. They don't follow grammatical rules every single time. This also happens. So what is fluency? If you think about the word fluency, don't you think about the word flow? What is flow for you? It's when you don't have brutal interruptions and you are speaking something and it's not like this is not the way I am speaking right now. This is not flow. So I'm not doing this, the flow, just like the air, like water. like the other guy said, be water, my friend, be water. So my advice to you is try to be like water, to flow. So even if I'm speaking and let's say I am using all the correct words, all the correct grammar, everything is correct, but I'm speaking like this. Do you think this is flow? There is any kind of flow here? Do you think I'm fluent? I don't think so. I don't think so. You need to know that it's possible to be understood and be fluent, even though you don't speak the perfect grammar and you don't use all the correct words in a sentence. Because if you just noticed what I did, it's more difficult to understand if I'm always hesitating, I'm always stopping. This is difficult to understand because it's not flowing. The words, the sounds are not flowing. Although they are correct, everything, you need to flow. Which also means that if you say something and the grammar is not 100%, you said one word you kind of mispronounced, but in the context it's possible to understand. But when you are in this flow, you are saying what do you want to say in this flow. The probability that the other person will understand is quite high. It happens. And it happens, for example, with things that are very difficult for example, English speakers to get it right in the first month, which are gender and number. Because in Portuguese, almost every single thing has a gender. So, telemóvel, this is a guy, all right? This is a guy. Microphone, it's a guy as well, masculine. Let me see. Gum, pastillas, not sponsored. Pastillas, these are girls. All of them are girls. Pastillas, bubblegum. So why? Of course, there's no actual gender, but in Portuguese, it makes sense. It makes sense that we give gender to objects. Also, in terms of number, there are so many exceptions in terms of a plural. The classic one, pão, pães. Why pão that ends in ão? It's pão, is pães, but mão, which also ends with ão, it's mãos. So sometimes we have a couple of words that end in the sound ão, but the plural of those words are not going to be the same. Different words have different plural, all right? And even intermediate and advanced students struggle with this. And also because although we have some rules, there are a lot of exceptions. Portuguese has a lot of exceptions. And you come across a new word and you want to speak, you want to say what you want to say, but you're not sure about the plural. Most likely you are going to say the plural in the wrong way. But, for example, pão, pães. Pães. If you say pães, people will understand. They're not stupid. Because there's no other word that means pães doesn't exist. What does exist is pães. But if you say it wrong and you say pães, well, pães is similar to the singular pão, which is correct, bread. Right? So we will understand. Besides, there's also context. And context is king in Portuguese for you to understand and be understood. So really think about this. What is fluency for you? You need to be perfect to be fluent. Do you think my English level is preventing me from being here, giving you advice about my native language, Portuguese, and how you can learn European Portuguese and enter the Portuguese world, you can follow my example and do the same. English is not my first language. I don't speak like a native speaker, of course not, because I'm not, but I'm still here making content for you. So really think about this. How much can you learn in 3 months? Right? I think this is the most important question.